Welcome to the Contact Center Cactus Chat podcast. I'm your host, Eric Malden, and we're back for the part 2 episode with Cathy here. And so today we're going to be talking about culture index and getting into people's personalities and figuring out how can we find the right people for the right seat so that when the businesses that are listening to the show right now, start working with a call center like us, how do we make sure we're finding the right people for you guys? And so we're going to dig in that today. And we've got Cathy back on the show. Welcome.
Thank you again, Eric. Thank you very much for having me again today. And I hope to discuss a little bit more about Culture Index today and more about hiring.
For the people listening in the podcast, what is Culture Index? So over the last, 18 months now, we've put in place this tool, Culture Index, which is a personality testing. So I think a lot of business owners and companies are somewhat familiar with that. And I agreed to bring it in over to Pac Biz after I took the test, and I had other people take it, and I think pretty consistently it was giving people's personality within like a 95 to 98% accuracy. Like people were finding out stuff about themselves. And it measures a lot of really interesting things, such as even not just personality, but like there's a thing called energy units where you're measuring if people are getting burned out or not.
Correct.
And that's an area that we're focusing on more. But initially, we brought it in for talent acquisition. And I think, it all goes full circle because like you're dealing with the people getting brought on, but you're also involved with, helping out with a little bit of other parts of the company. We don't take care of the staff and they quit, you're going to have to hire more people.
Yeah.
That's more work for you. So there's some incentive for, to be in an organization that keeps the people so you don't have to keep hiring more and more. Mm-hmm. But tell me a little bit about because you've been leading the charge. I have to thank you for like the last, I don't know how long you've been the champion of Culture Index and really used it and brought it into Pac Biz so that we could use it, not just for hiring, but I think we're getting into this next phase, this next year in 2023 of how can we use it to manage our existing staff and build teams better. But tell me, what has your experience been like with Culture Index?
Oh, yeah. And thank you for bringing that up, Eric, because, Culture Index has really been, it is really a fantastic tool. And that is true. It is a personality test. But I think more than a personality test, it's really an appreciation and a communication tool. And in our experience, it's really been great because probably I'll just to give you a background about what really this tool is all about and why this is important and why we're investing so much on it. It's because, Culture Index, it focuses on people. Like what we mentioned earlier, people is the most precious resource of the company. So we want the people we bring in to be the right people. We want them to be placed in the right seat because if they're not in the right seat, it's like writing with your non-dominant hand. Remember our workshop?
Trying to write your name with your left.
Correct, and it's funny. And what it is that, and if I may borrow, Jackie Lord's words, if I may quote her, she said, when someone is not placed in the right seat in the company, they will have an out-of-body experience. Correct. So that means, the ultimate goal really of talent acquisition here in Pac Biz is really to get the right people and to place them in the right seat. So how do we do that? First, we have to identify the strengths of people, and we have to enhance the impact of that unique strength because you and I, we have different strengths. Basing on our trait profiles, but, we'll discuss that later on maybe. And also with Culture Index, not only are we able to bring the right people for the right seat or for the right role, but we are also able to help, better manage them. How do we manage people? How do we communicate with people? And how do we motivate them? And also, I think it is such a powerful tool, especially when it comes to training and coaching. And apart from that, I think it's one tool we're able to see whether, this person is burned out, like what you said earlier, or, is his strength, aligned with the job description of the role. So that's what it is. So essentially with Culture Index, we're able to get the right people, keep the right people, and keep them engaged as well.
Yeah. And And it's a fairly new thing. You know, we haven't been doing it for that long. I can't say that we've been able to grow the company using Culture Index for 8 years. It's only been like the last year or so. And you know, you mentioned Jackie, which we'll have on a future episode soon. So if you want to learn more about this, we're going to have Jackie on the show. So you get to get a little deeper in that. But yeah, it's really just to take what we're doing at Pac Biz to the next level, which the way I feel like explaining it is, you know, like most companies, you figure this stuff about people, but it takes time. And it might take trial and error. Like, hey, let's put this person in this role. Ooh, that was a bad idea. They're not doing too good. We got to put something else in. Or this team is not functioning. You know, we need to change it up. So instead of guessing and trying and seeing if it works or not, like, we don't have time for that. And I don't think our clients do either. They can't afford to have us tinkering around and figuring things out with the staff and who goes where. So it's really just about cutting that learning curve down so that we could work with people better. And we're using it in so many different interesting ways that I never thought when I initially brought it on, because we're not only using it with our staff, we're actually using it with clients too.
Correct. Yeah.
And I know you're helping get the surveys out, but just to share, you know, for example, we're doing virtual assisting here now at Pac Biz, and the skills to be a really great virtual assistant is different than the skills to be good for customer service.
Correct. Yeah.
So I don't know. Can you speak about that a little?
Yeah, definitely, Eric, because, you know, when we talk about customer service or being a customer service representative, you need to be more of a people person. And, you know, you need to be more empathetic, so to speak. And, you know, in general, you really have to be a people person. But when you talk about being a virtual assistant, you don't get to talk to people as much. I mean, I'm just talking about virtual assistants per se, wherein it's more admin work. You know, work that doesn't pop back to you. So obviously, you know, somebody who is great with people may not be as great doing, you know, work that doesn't pop back to them. Some people would like to be placed in a spot where they're able to, you know, just interact with people on a daily basis, but others would just love to be there on their computer doing worksheets and just, you know, things that don't necessarily need a response. So that's why this is where Culture Index comes in, and it's really very essential because we are really able to see the unique strength of our applicants and which, you know, seat or which role they should be in. Because if, you know, eventually they may be good at this at the beginning, but 3-6 months down the road, if that's not really the seat that's right for them, they get burned out. They just quit. Yeah.
And we'd have high attrition here. You know what?
Yeah.
We want to bring, like, I mean, you're the one that oversees the hiring process. So, I mean, you know how much work it takes to get that person to be here, because this is a training room, right?
Yeah, this is a training.
So to get them to come to the training room to start training is a lot of work. And so we don't want to go through all that and then turns out they don't work out, because not only does that impact us internally, it uses more resources. Again, got to think back to the clients. You know, what happens to your clients when you start working, like, so some of you people listening right now might be thinking about using a call center, and you're looking for, like, what's some tips to look for. And I would say, you know, this is something to consider. You know, are they doing personality testing? What are they doing to hire the people? Because there's so much data that you can get on people these days that could be really useful. And we're not trying to use it to eliminate people. We're trying to use it. How can we find their strengths? How can we find them so they could thrive in that?
Correct. Yeah.
Because that has been my goal from day one. That's why I was so attracted to this tool, because I want people, like, if they're in the right seat and it's the perfect job for them, they won't leave. And I don't think we've got over 200 people today working at Pac Biz. It's February 2023. And I don't think we'd have 50 people this year celebrating their 5-year anniversary with the company if we weren't putting people in the right seat. And I last time I was out here is July 2022, about 8 months ago. And it was really shocking. It was my first trip back after almost 3 years. How many people were telling me, you know, Eric, I've been with the company now 3-4 years. Before this, I've never worked at a job for more than 6 months. And it's like really, like, it's validation for me, because I started Pac Biz because I wanted to make this a job that people really loved and then that they felt home.
Correct.
So I don't know. Again, it just goes full circle because we got our core values of family, and why are you going to bring someone into the family that is disruptive or
correct,
not a good fit? But if you bring someone in and they're going to be lasting 3-5 years, and so I get to tell clients that all the time. There's a good possibility that this team that you have taking calls for you, these 3 people, 5 people you started with, 10 people, that core team is still going to be there 3 to 5 years from now. And that's like in our space, I feel like that's pretty unheard of. I don't know. I don't know how much experience you have with other call centers, talent acquisition, but I don't know. I feel like that's something that's pretty unique here at Pac Biz.
Yeah, I think so too, Eric. Well, I don't really have that much experience in terms of, how long people would stay in a call center or in a company for that matter. But I think when we're talking about the BPO industry, there's really higher attrition compared to others. Yeah. And I've been with a couple of BPOs before. And of course, I can really see that people don't stay for that very long. And in my interviews, I would often, get amazed by people who stay maybe 2, 3 years down the road in one BPO. Really? Because that's really, really amazing. So, and I'm also quite impressed. And like what you said, we have 50 employees who've been with us for 5 years. That's pretty amazing. That goes to show that, the environment that we have really is, everyone is really aligned to our core values of family, respect, teamwork, compassion, and personal growth. And that also shows in our what we call employee satisfaction survey, which we run every year. And although not everyone's really happy, because there's no perfect organization and you can't really please everybody, but you can really see that people are just really happy with the family environment, with the camaraderie, with the teamwork, and there's just genuine love, if I may use that word so boldly. There's just genuine love and support in this company.
Yeah, and it might sound weird to say like, you're talking about a company, and those are words you might not typically hear. But I could tell you, this trip here, we brought a lot of people out. Not me personally, I have family here that we brought from the U.S. and a lot of I think there's probably like 30 or 40 people who've never been to the Philippines before that are experiencing it for the first time. And a lot of them got to attend the celebration, the 8-year celebration. And they've been telling me just even this morning, I was having breakfast with some people, and they're like, it was so incredible at your event. Like you could feel how happy people are. And I think it's true. I mean, so for you guys listening, like it's possible to build an organization where you got staff members that feel like that. It takes effort and it takes work.
It is, yeah.
It's taken 8 years to get to this point, but it's pretty cool when we get there. And now we can build on it. Now my goal is, okay, how can we get a lot more people to feel it? Because though we got 200 people, why can't we get 400 people to feel it?
Yeah, and more. And 8, they say, is a lucky number, but of course we don't just believe in luck, but we of course believe in hard work and teamwork. So it's, if I may quote Father Bong from our Mass, it's just onwards and upwards from here on for Pac Biz. Yeah, definitely.
And they say that luck is where hard work meets prep.
Correct. Yeah. So I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, we make our own luck by putting ourselves out.
Right.
Cool. Well, hey, Cathy, it was so awesome to have you on the show. I really love the conversation we had. I'm glad we're able to share that with our listeners. And I think this will probably be part 2 because this is long enough. It's 2 parts. So hope you guys got a lot out of that. And if you want to learn more about Culture Index, we're going to have a future episode with Jackie, who's one of the people that helps implement this at companies based out in Scottsdale, Arizona. Really amazing person. She works with a few other businesses I know as well. And I know you guys are going to love that episode as well. We're going to dive deeper into that. But for this episode, thanks for sharing a bit about you went deep into a little bit of your background. So I appreciate you opening up, and thank you so much for all you've done at Pac Biz with helping bring in all these talented people and helping us out here over this last few years.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Eric. Thank you very much. It's really such an honor to be here at your podcast and our podcast, if I may say so. And thank you very much for having me. I really had fun today.
All right, great. Well, until the next episode, please, if you know other people that are dealing with call centers, maybe they're thinking about outsourcing, maybe their business gets a lot of phone calls, they're looking to improve their customer experience, please send them this podcast. I think there's a lot of really great information that we're going to keep sharing. We're starting to build up some really amazing guests that are going to be on the show this next year. And so make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, any social media platform. We're sharing clips from the show. So look for us out there. And until then, we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Thanks for listening.